to Podcast Evolved, your home for Halo. I'm your host today, David, and with me is Aaron.
Hi, guys.
And Krysta.
Hello.
We're doing a very special episode today, if you haven't noticed by the title of this show. So this is in honor of 343 Industries' Canon Fodder, which is coming up to issue 117. Very important number in Halo, of course. We'll be sharing our favorite moments of the famous Spartan John 117, aka the Master Chief. Just very quick before I get started, we're not doing our usual social stuffs, but we do have to give a big shout out to Mr. Jeff Easterling, who is also known as Grim Brother 1. So Jeff, thank you so much for all your Canon Fodders. They keep literally our podcast alive, so we have things to talk about, which is very handy when we see a Canon Fodder drop. All the books tend to get announced here, so it's always very exciting for us to listen to it. We get our hands on the new Canon Fodder. So thank you very much, Jeff. Keep it up.
Written 117 of them. That's crazy.
Yeah, don't ever leave us, Jeff.
Don't leave, Jeff. We need you. Please.
So today, like I said, we're just going to be talking about Master Chief. And in particular, we thought we would just base this episode not just on him, but on our best and favorite moments of him that we can think of in the games and the extended lore. And he has a lot of cameos and a lot of appearances across the lore, as you can imagine. So very quickly, everyone knows who Master Chief is. They know who he is. If you're listening to this podcast, you know who Master Chief is. But if you don't, you should, and you do, I know you do. But he is not a ginger. We should point this out first because it comes up a lot, like Aaron says. His hair is brown, too reddish brown. It seems to be an important detail, so we thought we'd get that out first. He is a crazy-ass super soldier who was taken at the age of 6, given a crap ton of not very nice drugs and procedures to make him into the ultimate super soldier. And you think you could arguably say that it worked. They did a pretty good job. They got him right. There was obviously a lot of badness that happened around it, but we came out at the end, we got this ultimate character, who I've always really liked, especially because it's interesting from the perspective of when the video game was made, the first LC. Games were very different, stories were told very differently in games, and he was the stereotypical silent protagonist that you get in a video game, especially at a first-person shooter game. No one really cared who you were just a faceless being that fired bullets. But his character obviously went from strength to strength across the games and the lore, and that was obviously what the fans of the show and the game, were attracted to. So, he has been played by multiple people. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So obviously, the main man is Steve Downes, who does the voice of Master Chief. He is in all the kind of audio versions for the most part of Master Chief, including the Super Bomberman or Master Chief Bomber, which is really interesting because I kind of forgot that he was in that. He's like a playable character in that game. He's in Halo Legends, however. The shorts, the package, and the odd one out, John is voiced by David Wald. I'm not sure who he is. He must just be a voice actor, I think. He is also in the game's legendary ending. Bruce Thomas repeated his role as John 17 in Halo 5 Guardians and Halo Infinite, which is interesting. Don't know what that's with reference to. We also have Paolo Schreiber will portray John in the Halo TV show. So that is interesting because then we have a real live face for John. And the footage we've seen of him so far and some of the pics of him look pretty good. So I think we are looking forward to seeing John in the live actions. But anyway, let's talk on some of John's incredible feats in our 20 years. 20 years!
That's crazy.
Krysta, he's almost as old as you.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, just 6 years short.
Not much of a difference there. That's crazy. So we're going to highlight some of his more memorable moments in the books and video games. Guys, who wants to go first?
I'll go in a sec. By the way, I can say one thing. Bruce Thomas is the motion capture actor for Master Chief.
Oh, he was the guy in the suit.
Yes. He's the guy with the ping pong balls attached to his overalls. He did the mocap for those games.
I love those mocap suits. I want one. I'd wear it every day.
I'm sure they're easily achievable, Chris. Aaron, go on.
Okay, we have the first one here is I think a lot of people remember this. This is Ringing the Bell in Fall of Reach.
Oh, yeah.
As a memorable moment, this will go because we will go with, I think, the first ringing of the bell when John learns a valuable lesson in teamwork and friendship because he gets punched in the gut because Chief decides that the only way, well, John, he's not chief yet, decides that he is going to come first no matter what, and the rest of his team won't slow him down. So he is the first one through the obstacle course. He makes his way through everything. He gets up the pole, he rings the bell, he's like, I won. And then the rest of the team come in late, and then he's like, oh no, I didn't win because the rest of the team didn't join me. Mendez teaches him a valuable lesson. He doesn't get his dinner. He gets sucker punched. And then the next time they're in the obstacle course, there's a very important lesson in, okay, we'll do this together.
I think they win, too. Don't they ring the bell first the second time when they start working together?
The power of friendship.
And then Blue Team is created.
Or, as the recent Fast and Furious trailers, the power of family.
I mean, the Blue Team is kind of just Fast and Furious, right? It's like, we're a family.
But at least they're genetically modified and not just mechanics with Superman strength, so like, you know.
They're a genetically modified family.
So that is our first big moment. I think everyone, like, we've seen it in numerous versions. What do we have it in the comics, don't we? We have it in the graphic novel.
Every iteration of The Fall of Reach, which there are many, does have the bell scene in it. And I think the bell is even in Shadows of Reach as well, when they go back.
The bell makes a cameo appearance in Shadows of Reach.
The bell is the MVP character in the Halo series.
Krysta, do you want to take the second one?
I will do the second one. I'm excited for this one. This is also from The Fall of Reach, and this is beating multiple ODSTs to death as soon after Master Chief's augmentations.
This is so good. The gym scene? It's brilliant.
The gym scene is really good because the gym itself, instead of having a bunch of different weights, they have a small set of weights, and then they have gravity controls, so like half the gym is gravity controlled and half isn't. And Master Chief just is able to go work out after his augmentations, so it's been a couple weeks for him. And he takes one of the pins, and he notices how it falls, and he's like, that can't be right, that's in slow motion. And so he's like doing all these experiments watching the pin fall. And soon after that, some ODSTs come in, and ODSTs don't really like Spartans, and the ODSTs are like, oh, we'll take you out in the ring. And it doesn't end very well for the ODSTs, as Master Chief completely decimates them and beats them into a pulp. Thus begins the long, long rivalry between the Spartans and the ODSTs. But the coolest thing about that fight scene is how Master Chief is he's almost impressed with his own abilities. He's still trying to learn how his body moves and stuff like that, but it's just a lot of different revelations that you get to see him experience as he gets used to all his augmentations.
And how he doesn't understand the consequences of his actions either. Like, he just really, he's going through, his mental state of, these are soldiers, they're on my team, but yet they're behaving like enemies. Do I treat them like enemies, or do I treat them like... So that was all very interesting, and where he was struggling with what to do. And afterwards, I think Mendez comes in and breaks up the fight, and pretty much, John's like, but I won, right? So it was just a test and I won, so everything's okay. As if Mendez is like, yeah, totally okay, Psycho Child. You keep walking. But it's cool, and I love that, they go back to this, we've seen other characters mention this specific moment in the lore further down, years down, where they see the repercussions of this fight. So I thought it was cool.
The biggest thing I liked about this, apart from the fact that, again, you can see it in the animated version, is it sets up the entire animosity in Silent Storm between the Spartans and the ODST commander, because they all know about what happened here, and they all know what happened to these ODST in the gym.
I think it was Halsey. Halsey set him up, right? Didn't that come out afterwards that it was set up?
I think it was set up from Halsey and the Brass. The Brass wanted a test. They wanted to know what would happen, so she set this encounter up, basically. This 11-year-old chief kicking the shit out of these grown men, I'm sure it's a sight to behold.
Yeah, he kills one of them, if I don't remember. One or two of them.
I think he kills all of them.
All of them. I think they all die.
One of them's alive, isn't he? I thought one of them's alive. I don't know.
Well, one of them doesn't fight, and it's their superior.
I could be thinking of that.
I think 3 of them are ODSTs, the other one's their superior, and the superior's like, alright, we'll test out this silly little, Spartan boy. And so he sends 3 of his men in, and then the Superior's like, oh shit. Well, fuck me.
Slowly walking back like Homer Simpson into the bushes, just like, ooh.
Yeah, it's at the end when Mendez comes in and the other commander's like, oh, this is one of Halsey's ones. And you're like,
yeah.
How does everyone know who... That's the one thing that I love about early Halo. Everyone knows who the super secret Spartans are.
Okay, so I'll take the next one, which is an amazing moment of John. So in the Forward Unto Dawn miniseries, at one stage, it's our first kind of live action John, and he's pretty cool in it. But his by absolute shout out moment, and I think the shout out moment of the whole show, is John assassinates a hunter with a grenade. It's just incredible. He's escaping with the 2 or 3 surviving kids from the class. They're in a warhog. He's shooting them up. I think does the warhog get shot or get break down? He has to jump off and let the kids go ahead. And then the hunters are coming after them. And all you see is the green glow in the trees. And he's like, okay, I have to go deal with this hunter because he'll just take us out in the warhog. Otherwise, we kind of sends the kids away. And I think one of the kids follows him and like acts as a kind of like a decoy and like bait and kind of runs in front of the hunter. So the hunter shoots at the kid. And then John kind of runs up behind the hunter, punches him into all the worms with a grenade, and then like backflips off him as the grenade explodes, murdering this hunter. It is so cool.
It's one of the best scenes.
It's so well choreographed. I've been waiting for it to come into the games every time I've seen the scene. I'm like, why can we not assassinate a hunter like this? We should be able to do this in the game. It would be so dope.
Yeah, it's a fantastic maneuver that he pulls. And also there is I believe you have to buy them secondhand now, but there's like a McFarlane statue of this moment that was available at one point.
I don't think I've ever seen that. That's cool.
Hang on, I'll pull it up and show you guys.
Man, that toy looks awesome. That's dope.
Oh, that's so sexy.
One fun fact for Forward Unto Dawn while we're there and we're talking about people that have played Master Chief. Master Chief in Forward Unto Dawn is played by Daniel Cudmore, who was Colossus in the X-Men movies.
Oh, that's right. I did know that. Yeah.
It is a completely different actor, and he really has it down. Like he has all the sort of movements pretty good. I remember watching, I think 343 did like a behind the scenes thing, and they talked about how they were going to get him to like wear the suit to some promotional stuff, and then they saw how long it took and how much bother was involved in putting him into the suit, and they're like, we can't put this guy through this ever again. It's like, as soon as this is over, we can never ask him to wear the suit. Because it was like I forget what they said, but like it sounded as big an ordeal as, you know, if you're Klingon in Star Trek and they're doing your
6 hours of makeup before the episode.
Yeah, who would have thought that the entire suit was painted on in layers? It's very impressive. But yeah, no, that scene is particularly good, and it's amazingly well shot.
100%, yeah. The CG is excellent, the choreograph is excellent, I loved it. Okay, what's the next one up, Aaron?
Right, the next one we have is the First Strike slipspace fight.
Ooh.
This would be the one with the funky space crystal, I believe, where they're trapped in a weird singularity pocket of slipspace where they're not quite in slipspace, they're not quite in normal space, and they're shooting at other Covenant ships, and plasma bolts are ricocheting and disappearing and reappearing.
And they're on the hull of the ship, too.
Yes, they have to go out onto the hull of the ship to fix some sabotage that some of the... I believe there's still a few elites on the ship. This is the... Is it just the Ascendant Justice at this stage, or is it the Gettysburg Ascendant Justice?
I think it's the Gettysburg Ascendant Justice. So they took the Gettysburg, a big UNSC frigate, and just kind of like duct taped it to the side of this Covenant cruiser.
Yeah, I can't remember if that might actually, it might come after this fight, because I think this fight might be how the Ascendant Justice gets its ass kicked, because it is a top of the line Covenant vessel, and it just gets obliterated in this. But yes, they have to go out onto the hull in this weird slipspace thing. I think they lose several Spartans in this fight.
I think they just get evaporated.
Yeah, murdered.
A plasma bolt appears out of like crinkly slipspace and takes out the Phantom.
And this isn't like a small plasma bolt. This is a plasma bolt from a Covenant ship. That's ricocheting everywhere.
Ship-to-ship combat in the weirdest kind of place. But, like, Chief immediately is like, nope, we're going to go onto the hull. We're going to fix this shit. There's no hesitation between him and the Spartans at all. And they go out and they save the day in the end. And actually, I believe at the end of this, they are almost passed out, magnetically locked to the hull. And they tell they tell the crew, no, get us out of here. We'll come back in later. Because they have taken a ship plasma bolt at close range.
It's amazing. I love that scene. It's so good. And then they time travel, and then it gets very confusing.
They do time travel in that book as well. There's a lot of things in that book. It's one that you have to sit down and read, and then you have to go to Halopedia and go, explain the finer details of this to me.
It's a good one, though. Don't sleep on First Strike.
No, First Strike is a fantastic novel. There are a few very good parts in it. Honourable mention to Chief's brute fight in the temple.
Oh, yeah.
That is like a brief moment where they don't really mention it again later, where the brutes are able to track the blue team suit comm system, and every time Chief clicks the microphone, a brute smashes through a column and comes to get him. It's very good. There's a lot of great stuff in that novel.
That's also when Linda's like hanging from the ceiling and like doing sniping upside down and shit. Oh, it's so good. That's a great book.
It's so good.
The Unyielding Hierophant.
Krista, you get the next one, which is pretty dope.
Oh, this one's so dope. And I think we're finally actually getting into the games. This is the bomb scene in Halo 2. And not only was this a like groundbreaking, amazingly gorgeous scene in the original Halo 2, but when they added on the blur cutscenes on top of it, it just became this beautiful masterpiece. It's just great. It's great from the one-liners of like, what if we miss? I won't. He flies out of the airlock, the beautiful, like, you know, ahs when he's in the middle of the ship and it's like silent.
The whole like, permission to leave the station, sir. For what, Master Chief?
To give the Covenant back their bomb. Him in the ship where it's all silent, and then him jumping off of the bomb and then falling onto the forward unto dawn. For a brick, he flew pretty good.
I think it's still Leon Amber clad. She hasn't crashed that ship yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's not until Halo 3. But no, it's such a beautiful cutscene. The work they do in the Halo 2 anniversary scenes, all of them are beautiful, but that one especially because he's floating down, he's drifting along, you see the broadswords come and they blow the hole in the side of the ship, and he just slides down in through the reactor core with it, and it's just like, everything about it is just fantastic.
And it's within the first, like, 2 missions of the game. It's like, oh my god, if this is how Halo 2 is starting...
And I'm pretty sure they had already shown it as a trailer for the game. I'm pretty sure they had that sequence as well, wasn't there? Or something similar to it.
There is a trailer version of this, which I think finishes with Master Chief flying out. It doesn't have the bomb. I believe this is the trailer where Chief's walking down the corridor and the guns come out of the wall and he gets the rifle. And then I think Cortana says, and what if I miss? Or what if you miss? I won't. But I don't think you get to see him drag the bomb out.
Yeah, it's a different edit.
But it's also a fantastic scene as well.
It is just an iconic scene for John. I mean, everybody knows it, like everybody, because of how big Halo 2 was and, you know, the trailer, the hype for that game. And just, I don't know, it's just such a cool moment. Covenant found Earth, they're fighting, it's the start of this game. John does something incredible. Oh, it was so cool. And then obviously the blur cutscene, like Krysta said, just made it what it is today. Like a true work of art. We get to keep that forever now. They can never take it away from us.
Yes.
The next one I want to shout out is a similar one, kind of. John falls from orbit at the beginning of Halo 3. So this is cool. It is cool from a lot of reasons. I am very stupid and didn't realize until very recently when I saw a piece of artwork that came out about this, that how John achieved this. So at the end of Halo 2, John is in the destroyer as it comes back to Earth. This big capital. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called.
The Dreadnought.
Dreadnought, that's the word I was looking for, yeah. The Forerunner kind of Dreadnought key ship as it comes back to Earth at the end. He kind of jumps off this ship and lands back into Earth. Just free falls down. But how he does it is like he actually has a door that he uses to kind of like enable his re-entry, so that kind of burns up as he crashes. And I never noticed it, but like it's in the ground at the beginning of the game where you find John. And I never copped this for a long time.
The ship is called the Anodyne Spirit.
Oh, there we go. Nice one. This is just cool. John just falling from orbit with this door, crashing into the ground. All his gel layers all locked up like the Marine says at the start, where Johnson has to find them. And he's like, get the heavy lift gear. We're not leaving them. And he kind of wakes up going, no, you won't.
Also, the Cortana monologue on top of it really sets up what Halo 3 is going to be about.
Yeah, it's really good. It's just a really good intro.
This also features in the little live action trailer that they made. This is, what is it called?
Halo Landfall.
Landfall, that's the one.
Yeah, it's great.
And in Landfall, the guy with the laser tracker is there on the battlefield trying to like track John's trajectory into atmosphere so that Johnson can go and rescue him.
I love how they made that like an in-canon thing. It's just so great. Yeah, that was a cool little sequence where they're like, have to aim this tracking laser at John, and all those Marines get murdered, but it's pretty cool. Do you want to take the next one, Aaron?
Yeah, I will go with the next one. So this is Chief getting promoted to the rank of Master Chief and becoming Master Chief. He was 15 when this happens. This comes in Silent Storm. The short gist of it is, it's one of these things where like, the same thing happens to Fred, where Fred gets his rank down the line, where it's like, you're getting a battlefield promotion, son, because no one's going to take orders from a private or a petty officer. It's like, you're going to be Master Chief, you are going to give the orders, here you go, here's your rank, we'll pay for it later. And then conveniently, the person that promotes him ends up eating it. But like, he is in Silent Storm, they are just kids, they are teenagers. They have their armor, they haven't been fighting too long, they're still having to prove themselves to the UNSC, and by the end of that story, there is no one left in the group that they're with that does not respect them completely.
Yeah, it's a great moment. Colonel Crowder, I think his name is, he's a great character in Silent Storm. But yeah, no, it was a really cool moment to see him promoted in the field, and like the weight of it and like what it meant. Like you said, it was all about, you need to take charge. You can't do it at your current level. So fuck it, I'm promoting you up here. People will listen to you now once they don't know that you're 15 years of age. So it's cool.
And like, this is ultimately, he gets a promotion from the guy who despised him. This is the thing. Crowther remembers the fight from earlier with the ODSTs in the gym. He had a lot of issues with Chief, and by the end of it, they completely respect each other.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's such a good moment. Krysta, anything to add? Or before we take your next point?
I just think being able to see the Master Chief become the Master Chief in the book was a really good touch. It was great.
Well done, Troy. Krysta Brown, you're up next.
Oh, this is a good one. So the Starry Night trailer for Halo 3. And if you don't remember this one, it's the two kids sitting in the lawn looking up at the stars, and they're talking about, oh, I wonder if there's life out there. I wonder if we're ever going to see them. And then it immediately transitions to Master Chief on this battlefield fighting aliens. We get to see the bubble shield. We get to see Master Chief jumping into the midst of a bunch of Covenant and Wraiths. It's just peak Halo 3. Halo 3 had some of the best trailers, and this one's one of the best. This one and maybe the Believe trailer.
Oh, it's just one of my favorites. Just how it's like flashing back and forward, and then like he's waking up, he sees the helmets in the thing. You don't see it's from John's perspective. He wakes up, puts back on his helmet, and you hear like the battlefield chatter coming through. Is anyone there? Can anyone respond? I hear John is going, I am. And he just gets up. You see that he was obviously in a Warthog that just got blown up. You see a Wraith shot coming in, and he pops the bubble shield. And at the time, we didn't know what the bubble shield was, but he popped it, and you see it take the shot. And I was like, this is so dope. And he just picks up his gun, he runs and jumps off a cliff into like a horde of like Covenant enemies.
We will throw in also honourable mention, we're going to talk about it later, but Matt brought this up as well, that in the beginning of Halo 4, in the big long cutscene, you actually get to see the end of this fight.
Oh yeah, is that from that?
Yes, John does the back kick flip. That is actually the chieftain that he is leaping into the air to fight in this trailer.
Oh, yeah.
That is cool. I never knew that. That's so cool. I did not know that.
It's one of those things I really appreciate about 343 this last while is tying stuff together so you get to see like the next bit of this fight.
That's cool as hell. I love that. That was also a cool Master Chief moment. So shout out to that intro. So what's after Starry Night is me. So Wake Me When You Need Me in Halo 3. So the end sequence of Halo 3 with John on Cortana. Hot diggity, wasn't it a goodie? So John is left stranded. The portal kind of collapsed. So himself and Cortana and what the remains of the Forward Unto Dawn are left floating in space. And essentially, he's like, Cortana's like, right, I've put the beacon out. There's nobody near us. They're going to be years before that signal reaches anywhere that can get to us. So John just pretty much has to go into cryo. So Cortana, as he says to Cortana, wake me when you need me. And he just see him getting frozen. And that's kind of just where the game ends. But Cortana left sitting watching this frozen cryopad. Oh, man. It's brilliant. It's so goddamn good. It's chills. That sentence, that one line is so good.
It was the best way they could have ended that trilogy. Because, I mean, it's so hard to end something like that. And I think just that one-liner and then him drifting in space, so good.
Yeah, and actually just slightly before the end of that, the one image I think from Halo 3 that is just beautiful is when you have Chief like leaning up over the pedestal with the arc in the background, Cortana's standing on it, and you just have his face with the arc behind him exploding like just before you get to this. There's so many beautiful images in all of Halo 3.
Agreed. God diggity, wasn't it a good moment? Oh, we kind of touched on it, but Aaron, you've already started it, so you might as well take us off.
That's all right, I'll go with this one. Yes, we have the intro cutscene to Halo 4. It's quite a long cutscene. It's Halsey being interrogated by a nameless, faceless Oni person. He's asking her questions about Master Chief. Is he broken? Was that the secret to his success? She theorizes they're trying to replace him. But then we get these like flashback images of the Spartans. So you've got what I think is one of the coolest images. You've got a Spartan team, which I assume includes Chief, dropping down onto the surface of a planet from Pelicans with using their jets. And they drop down and start fighting elites straight away. You've got that scene where Chief is taking on the Brute in hand-to-hand combat. And then you've got this image of Chief looking really sad, sitting on a crate. Halsey like brings him something blue and glowy, which we can assume is Cortana.
It's a great because like the dialogue that talks over it is so poignant as well, and obviously it sets the tone for like where the series changed from 3 to 4, and they're very anti-Spartan now, especially the Spartan 2s. They want to replace them, and they're looking for reasons to kind of take John down. They don't like the celebrity status he has. It was great just in the first intro to see it turn, to see Halsey realize that as well. She very quickly cuts through this guy's line of questioning.
Also, we get to see like live action child John for the first time, which it may be a little like hitting the nail on the head, but he's sitting in like a bed incubator thing that looks like a giant blown out version of his helmet, and you're like, that's a little on the nose there, guys, but okay.
I didn't notice that.
He's this when you watch that scene at the start where there's these rows of beds, but they look like closed cabinets with glass. But they're in Spartan green. They kind of look like big versions of Spartan helmets.
Oh.
He's sitting sort of like hunched up, holding his knees.
Yeah, I figured that as being like, that. Those are like the augmentation bays where the operations happened.
Yeah, and then you've got him like in his armor with the scientists around him. And that's actually a good image for like seeing the scale of a Spartan. You have these white lab coat scientists who all look tiny, standing around this guy in his big suit of armor, getting him to hold his arms out and stuff.
That is cool, yeah, when they're taking the armor off. That sense of scale is pretty cool. I did love that about Halo 4, and they did that a few times.
Just to do a transition, speaking of taking armor off.
Oh, Krysta Brown.
The end of Halo 4, I think this encompasses pretty much everything, that entire huge like cutscene suite that we get at the end. So the goodbye to Cortana, where we get to see Master Chief actually emoting at all. It's one of the first times we really, like, Halo 4 is, like, just emotional Chief, but it really comes to a head at the very end. And then, of course, once he's found after after that scene, and Cortana saves him from the explosion. And then, he's having that conversation with Lasky. Lasky's trying his darndest to comfort Master Chief. And then the very end with the Didact talking over Chief as he goes to get his armor taken off is just really cool. It almost makes Halo 4 seem like a prequel to something bigger. And I love it.
Yes, the Didact monologue is so good at the end of that sequence. And just seeing John walk up through that bay and just see the bay of like hundreds of Spartans and just everybody turning and watching him walk and move down. It's like you can just feel like the magnetism he has in that room. It's so cool.
Well, and it's something he doesn't even really want. He doesn't really seem to pay any mind to it.
Overly conscious of it either, yeah.
And then of course you get to see, if you have Legendary Edition, you get to see his eyes. You're like, wow, his eyes. That entire end of Halo 4 really is a turning point for Master Chief's character, I think.
Also, honourable mention to sad Master Chief standing on the observation bay of the Infinity with Lasky talking about, she said that to me once, about being a machine. It's like,
oh, the feels.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of feelings in those moments. It's such a good job with Halo 4, just like the build-up they give to the almost voiceless character that came from Combat Evolved to, like, we've made him a person.
100%, and that's probably one of the major successes of 343 when they've taken this character and given them
an actual character
out of it. Yeah, it's super.
You gotta remember, Master Chief came out at a time where you had these silent protagonists, because the thought was that you would project yourself into the character, which ended up not actually being a huge thing. People actually want to see a character develop and interact with other characters.
I mean, it makes sense for a multiplayer game if you're not that bothered, but like I think when you're telling a story, give me a character to be in that story. That's kind of how I like it to be.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, the next one down is the intro to Blue Team. So this is the mission from Argent Moon. It's the cutscene at the beginning in Halo 5. This is so cool.
It's so good.
The two intro cutscenes for the two teams were kind of released before the game launched, and they were fantastic. Just from how they looked, from how they tell the different styles of the team. So we have Team Osiris. They're super cool, hype as intro to the game. And then you have this quiet, silent, efficient Blue Team getting deployed to the Argent Moon. You see them coming through space. They kind of shoot off the back of a pelican in space. They're heading towards the ship, the Argent Moon, and they shoot in space. You don't hear any of it, but you see all them shooting, and they break the glass in this window in this bay where there's a bunch of elites sitting in it. And then as they smash through the glass, land, you see them skid, and like obviously their mag boots switch on. And then as that room decompresses, all the elites get sucked out. You see them like dodge one shot as the guy tries to hit him with a sword. They get sucked out into the space before the emergency doors latch on, and that's it. They've made their introduction. And it was so cool. Barely a word spoken amongst Blue Team, but it was just so good. It was such a good intro.
It's amazing. It really highlights, what Blue Team is in such a simple, quick cutscene. Like, no words needed to be exchanged. No looks needed to be exchanged. They just did it. They just worked as this, like, almost one unit, one person, and were able to do it without any kind of planning beforehand.
There is the one moment in that scene at the start when the rest of Blue Team are like talking about Chief before he comes out of the cockpit, and Fred like just steps in his way, and all he just like, we okay, and he pats him on the shoulder and moves on. You're like, that's the height of the Spartan interaction on this. It's just like, we're good.
Well, they take each other's word for things, right? Like, they don't need to go into this big, dialogue about how they're feeling or how they're doing or anything like that. It's just a quick checkup, and then, because they've been together for so long, they know how each other's feeling, they know what to say, what to do, and it's just, like, we're good to go kind of thing. It's like, yep, good to go.
All of Blue Team's story in Halo 5 is all about their ultimate trust in Chief's decisions. So, like, Chief is going AWOL, Chief is doing all these things, and the whole team, they're just supporting him 100%, even though, like, they may not believe as John believes, but they're like, fuck it, he's John, we're with him. It's just the Blue Team segments of Halo 5 are the standout ones, really, for me, and the intro is just really what sets it up.
And it's worth noting, Fred actually outranks Chief, but Chief is still in charge of Blue Team.
Yeah, I love that. Fred just defers to Chief, regardless of the rank, but I think that's pretty cool. Aaron, you want to take the next one? You have another good one for Halo 5 there.
Yeah, we can go with this. It's quite a short scene, actually, compared to the others. You have Chief and the Arbiter having like their little get-together. No, they're not having their bromance meeting just yet. This is before that, isn't it? This is the Pelican flies in, and Blue Team get off the Pelican, and we have Halsey's It Took You Long Enough.
Oh yeah, baby. That was the emotions in that fucking thing as well.
I was getting a little ahead of myself there. This is the first time that Halsey and Chief see each other in the games.
I think so.
We only saw Halsey. We saw her in the cutscene for Halo 4. We saw her in Reach, but Chief had no direct interactions with her in either of those.
Well, and even in the timeline of the universe, Halsey hasn't seen Chief in years. That we know of, at least.
This would be their first meeting since they thought Chief died at the end of Halo 3.
Yes.
This is their first meeting in person since then.
Halsey's been locked down.
Yes, and any interactions you've had with her up until the end of the game when you've been playing was as Osiris. When you see her in the open world level on Sanghelios, you are Osiris, you're not Chief. So this is the big meeting at the end, the family's reunited. He gets to see his kidnappee mother.
Halsey is such an interesting character because you love her and hate her at the same time, but them reuniting was such a such a warm and fuzzy moment, even though Halsey's really sassy. It took you long enough. I augmented you to be faster than this.
It's great. Krysta Brown, you take up the next one there.
Alright, this one's actually from a comic. This is from Escalation. I think it's, the next 72 hours? 42 hours? Which one is it?
The next 72 hours.
Okay, it's Master Chief's big suite in the Escalation comics, because the Escalation comics are a bunch of short stories, mostly post-Halo 4. So this is almost the end of the Didact kind of saga, where Master Chief figures out where the Didact kind of crawled off to and goes and fights him. The Didact cracks Master Chief's helmet. Master Chief, pokes his eye out, and then Master Chief, just ejects the part of the Halo ring that the Didact's on into a planet. That's how they kill him.
As the name suggests, this is literally the next 72 hours after Halo 4. This is straight after it. Fun mention too, during this, Master Chief cracks a joke with Lord Hood, where they're walking along after their debrief and Hood's talking to him and is like, son, at this stage you could retire from frontline duty. The service would give you any rank you want. And Chief turns around and goes, the Admiral doesn't quite have the same ring to it. And Hood turns around and he's like, is that a sense of humour, Chief? I didn't think you had it in you, son.
That's pretty good. I didn't remember that.
Yeah. No, it is a good scene. You get that. There is the panel where you see Chief with the cracked visor and he has his one eye just looking through the visor. Quite a good one.
It's really good. If you haven't read it, it's definitely worth reading. It's kind of sad that they weren't able to put this cutscene in Halo 4 or anything like that, but it is very good. It's worth watching.
Okay, I will take the next one. So, the next one is diving from the back of a prowler over Sonoma and Silent Storm. So, in Silent Storm, like we mentioned, the Spartans are not being well respected. They're working with battalion almost of ODSTs.
The Black Daggers.
Yeah, the Black Daggers, yeah. They're being dropped onto this moon. They are instantly attacked by a bunch of insurrectionists. So they're trying to drop out of a prowler, and the bait they're dropping out of comes under heavy fire. So the Spartans pretty much step up in this moment. So this is John's big moment of stepping up and taking command of a situation as it kind of goes to crap. So he kind of pulls all of the kind of the guys out of harm's way as much as he can, and he ends up fighting over the edge of the prowler to try to secure the drop zone. So the whole mission goes to crap pretty much from the beginning, But it's just a great moment where we see John just taking on the role of responsibility as a mission falls apart, and he knows he should have been more involved, and his armor and training is better than the ODSTs, even though they won't admit to it. So he's like, people are dying because I'm not in the position I should be. So he just takes it upon himself to get the job done. It's a great moment, because obviously it sets up the kind of like the healing of the wounds between ODSTs and Spartans.
In this scene, like when you get it at the start, Chief's in the back of the bay because the ODSTs have relegated him to the role of basically heavy weapons mule. He's loaded up with equipment and he's in the back. He's the last man out. And then the bullets start to fly and you get this like Saving Private Ryan sort of moment where people are getting taken out. And he climbs up to the front and he leans out with the rockets and he goes to shoot and he's getting shouted at by the commander. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, we were going to take out the bunkers, but we're out of weapons range. And then, whoop, he jumps out the back of the prowler and starts to descend to the surface. Fun fact, there is a piece of artwork for this scene. Well, it's the scene that comes after this where they have to crawl up like a maglev tube to try and get to the top of the mountain. I will see, can I find it, and I will add it into the show notes for this episode so you can have a look at it because it's beautiful. And it's well worth having a look at. Silent Storm's a fantastic novel. Like, if you want a good Chief novel, go and have a look for it. Also, there is I believe for this and Oblivion, there is an extract read by Steve Downes.
Ooh, I know him.
Oh, yeah. It was to promote the book, right?
These novels are all from Chief's point of view, and we haven't had like a Chief point of view novel for quite a few years up until Silent Storm. It had all been other stories. Like, First Strike would have been our last Master Chief novel as Master Chief. This was a return to form where, funny, we were talking earlier, like the Chief is a silent protagonist sort of a character, but he's always had such a personality in the novels, which never really came out until Halo 4. Up until that stage, there wasn't a huge amount to him. But if you've read the books, you've always had an appreciation for what he's actually like.
Okay, so I'll take the next one there. So this is the final one we're going to call out. It is one of the more recent feats that John has done in the novel. So, in the Shadows of Reach, John uppercuts a Banshee. Yeah, I said that right. He just punches a Banshee because he can. The blue team are on the surface of the planet. They're trying to reach even. They're trying to scramble, get their way back to Castle Base. They are in these kind of gullies, kind of open top sewer trenches, and they're being attacked by some banished banshees. They're being strafed. All the blue team is really injured. They get really screwed up on their way to Castle Base. Pretty much this banshee comes down really low. It's the last one left. They don't have that much ammo, and John just jumps up and uppercuts this thing, knocking it flying, just totally winning in life in general because it's John and he just uppercut the Banshee. It was a cool moment. I forgot all about it, but I remember laughing about it at the time and putting it in our chat and asking you guys about it, but I'd totally forgotten about it until we were making our list today. So it is a shout out cool moment that John, and it probably is there for Jeff because Jeff loves Banshees. So there you go, Jeff.
The favorite man versus the favorite vehicle.
Together they make the uppercut.
Ba-bam.
You guys remember this? Anything else we'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, I like the imagery of just this man just punching an aircraft vehicle out of the sky. I think that's really great.
He has a great moment in the Fall of Reach where like he slaps a missile with Cortana. He just just slaps it out of the way. That was cool. So this is kind of like maybe several more times crazier than that.
When do I get to do this in the games? Where's the uppercut option?
That's probably coming with the grapple hook, Krysta. So when we get that grapple hook,
I'll be uppercutting all the banshees.
It'll be the deflector forearm attachment. You will just like reflect a banshee back up again.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would be cool. So just to kind of sound off on the end of this episode, obviously we've been talking about incredible moments of Master Chief. We've gone on a bit long, so I will very quickly just say Master Chief is obviously in all the games, but he's in a whole bunch of different books and extended lore that you guys should take a look at. So, from the obvious ones, Halo Fall of Reach, he's in all the various versions of that. First Strike we've mentioned a lot. The graphic novel Ghost of Onyx, Halo Uprising is a comic. Halo Hemjumper, also comic. Halo Legends, a TV show. Evolutions is in a couple of the different short stories along there. Halo 4, Forward Unto Dawn, that web series is amazing, go check it out. Initiation, Escalation, both comic series. We have Halo Tales from Slipspace, which is a bunch of short stories as well. Our Tales from Slipspace is comic, isn't it?
No, Tales from Slipspace is a graphic novel, sort of short stories.
Yes, so he's in one or two of those. He's shouted out in Collateral Damage. He's in the very beginning of Bad Blood, obviously Silent Storm and Shadows of Reach, and of course the upcoming Halo the TV series.
Did you say Oblivion and the Flood?
I did not.
Okay, those two books as well.
So there you go. There is a whole bunch of John Cannon and stuff out there for you guys to take. So once again, shout out to Jeff. Thank you very much, and congratulations on a whopping 117 issues of Canon Fodder. That's pretty damn good. So I have been your host today, David, and with that, Evolved!
Evolved!